Hey, it's me again, Otis, and today I'm going to show you how to take your Roxant Stabilizer videos to the next level. So grab your rigs. Today we're operating with two hands. Okay, I hear you asking, why do I need two hands? This stabilizer gives such beautiful smooth shots using just one hand. And you're right, it does. If those shots are a big wide meadow, or you're doing a floating walkthrough of your new backyard, that's great. But what if you're shooting a short film? What if you need to do a walk and talk and keep your actors perfectly framed? Let's try a few moves right now with just one hand and see what happens. Let's start with a tilt. Now, if you saw the video on drop time, you'll remember Newton's laws of motion. Basically, it says a body at rest tends to stay at rest. Well, in this case, the camera is the body at rest. When I start a tilt, it will eventually tilt up. However, I don't know when that tilt is going to start. You can see. And if I do a fast tilt, it's not going to tilt at all. The opposite happens when you're ending a tilt. This is now a body in motion, and it wants to stay in motion, and you don't know where that tilt is going to end. The same laws of motion apply to a pan. You'll see when I start the pan, it takes the rig just a moment to catch up. And when I stop the pan, the stabilizer wants to continue spinning. And as you see from these two examples, you'll never be able to start and stop a pan or a tilt with any precision using just one hand. Now let's try those same moves using two hands. In a previous video, I showed a mod where I added a barrel nut connector to the top of the gimbal, and that's going to be very helpful with this technique. If you haven't seen that video already, I recommend going back and watching it at some point. So what we want to do now is take the thumb and forefinger of the hand that's not already holding the stabilizer, and we're going to place those lightly on the barrel nut connector. Now, if you haven't done this mod yet, you can still use this technique, but if you're like me and you've got big fingers, it's going to be a tight fit grabbing that little knob just on top of the gimbal, but it can still be done. I'll turn this way so you can see better. Okay, so thumb and forefinger of this hand lightly on the front and back of the barrel nut. The reason I keep emphasizing the word lightly is that if you squeeze too hard, any movement from this hand is going to be transferred into the rig itself, and you're going to lose the smoothness and stability that you get from this hand. We don't want that. So, with a very light touch, we are going to turn the barrel nut, which in turn will pan the camera, and you'll see it takes a very light touch to get the camera to start and stop the pan. Now, if you had a heavier camera on here, like let's say a DSLR, then you're going to want to add just a little more pressure to start, and may even have to add a little pressure to stop the pan. But the larger surface area of the barrel nut will help with that. Now let's try a tilt. Again, finger in the front, thumb in the back of the barrel nut. With a very light pressure, thumb down, finger up will tilt up. To tilt down, you guessed it, it's just the opposite. Finger down, thumb up. And with that very simple movement, we can precisely control the start and stop of our tilts. Very handy when you're doing that walk and talk with your actor and you need to keep just the perfect headroom. And there you have it, the proper two-handed operating technique for your Roxant Stabilizer. Now this technique will take a little time to master, but don't let it scare you. Grab a friend, head to the park, take turns, make a whole day of it. And in no time, you'll be shooting like a pro. And as always, if there's something in these videos that we haven't covered that you'd like to see, post a comment and we'll see what we can do. Happy shooting! Ooh, is that Carrot Top?